Good morning, family. It's Saturday, and I know it's close to 1 o'clock, but you got to give it to me. Being able to sleep late, this is my morning, and I'm having my Mickey D's coffee, and I go to Mickey D's children because and I'm not saying that you all are children. I know that a lot of you are grown, but I go to Mickey D's because uh, I get a senior coffee at a discount rate, and I have to be wise with my money, and so I don't want to spend $2 or $3 on some coffee if I haven't made any at home. So that's why I go to Mickey D's, and but anyway, this is my morning, and I want to talk to you a little bit still today because mothers they don't get no days off. Mothers and fathers gets no days off. Being a mother and being a father is a 24-hour, 7-day a week position. And so I still wanted to talk with you on my weekends because I feel like I still have something to say. I was talking to my daughter-in-law and my son on last night, and so we were talking about whether black men have a hard time, and whether the majority or a lot of black women disrespect black men. And so they were asking me my thoughts, and but like I had told you on yesterday, that we live under a lot of social pressures, and that's why I was speaking with you on knowing that the era that you are born in, that it has a lot of things going on and a lot of thoughts being spread, propaganda, and you don't always catch it because it's coming from everywhere. It's coming from the media. It's coming from your family and friends, your coworkers, and so I just kind of wanted to touch a little bit on that today because my daughter-in-laws. It's not only about my sons. I've taught my sons to know their position that God has given them. And not that I have taught them to be so manly or I'm always for the man. I'm for the woman as well as the man, but I just believe, like yesterday I told you, I said I believe the word and I believe what it says. And so that's how I base a lot of things. A lot of my thoughts come from the word. And I don't think that there's any contradiction in the word. I think that the contradictions come from the explanations of men. And the word tells us that we came from man, and that woman was created for man and not man for woman. And I believe in men being the head of their home. And she was arguing, my daughter in law was arguing about the point of absentee fathers, and that so many black men, she quoted, was not in the correct position. My son's argument was that a lot of times the social pressures or the system has something to do with that. And I believe in a way that that's true. Naeem Akbar, he wrote a book called, it was about, I can't really recall, but he wrote a book about the effects of slavery. And he said that what black men, American black American black men especially went through in slavery, that it had a lot to do with the way that they feel or their behavior right now. Some of these things was ingrained and incorporated, I guess, into their genes, or deep subconscious mind, and that a lot of the things that the men and women do in the black culture came from slavery. Now, I don't know that that's true, but when I think of it, it makes sense. But we can argue that a lot of things man says can make sense. A lot of religious thoughts, it made sense to someone. That's why it's so much division. But just coming strictly in light of all of that, just coming strictly from the Bible, I believe, and I believe this for myself, I believe that I was created to be a good thing to a champion. And if you say, have you? I've gone through a divorce. I've experienced bad relationships stemming from bad decisions. And I believe with all my heart that I have come to terms with those things. And now I just believe that I am a good thing created for a champion, that I know my position as a woman, and that I'm proud to be a woman. And I thank God that some of my thought, now being raised by who I called, she was really my mother, but I was raised calling her grandmother because I was the age of her grandchildren. And so they called her grandmother, so I called her grandmother, but she had really taken the place of a mother. But her being an age woman, getting me as a 3-month-old baby at the age of 56, and she was born in the late 1800s. And she believed in a woman taking care of home. She believed that education was not as important as taking care of the family. And though some might disagree, or some might have had the privilege of being raised under people who stressed education and who benefited from that, I'm really comfortable with the way that I was raised. And I think that there is significance in a woman knowing her place, knowing her position. Now, I've heard some men say that they wouldn't have a woman that wouldn't work. As a matter of fact, I dated a man who didn't want to get married because I didn't work. And later on, he came back and rescinded on that decision. But excuse me. But by the time he came back, it was too late, because he had showed me his whole cord. So I didn't want to, I didn't have any time for that. But I love being a woman. I love taking care of the home. I love doing things in my house. Of course, being 61, things are not my focus right now. I don't want a lot of things. I don't want a lot of things. I choose not to have a lot of things right now because, frankly, I don't want to spend these late years keeping those things clean. And so I want my home to be comfortable, to be appealing, but to be uncluttered. I don't want my life cluttered at 61 years old. So I choose not to have a lot of things. But I love being at home, and I love being a homemaker. And so that's what I would stress for my daughter-in-laws, all of my daughter-in-laws, I want you to know that there's no shame in being a woman, that in the sight of God, it is a very valuable thing, your womanhood. And know that men are created differently. And men are not supposed to. Steve Harvey wrote the book, Think Like a Man and Act Like a Woman. But I'm sorry to say, that sounds good, but I don't buy it, because you can be informed about maybe a man's behavior, but a woman cannot think like a man. It's not in her DNA, it's not in her genes. She was created by God, and she thinks like a woman, or maybe influenced by uh, the thoughts of others. She might be a little bit more aware, maybe smarter, but I just think, and then for us to really want a man to be more like we are, to be expressive and emotional. God didn't create him to be that way. And so we just have to learn how to appreciate a man for who he is. Now, if you say to me, well, what if he's behaving in a way that makes me unhappy? And I would ask you, who chose this man that is behaving in a way that makes you unhappy? Uh, did he force you into a relationship? Okay. Did you choose to be with this man? And that's why I say, when you decide that you want to love a man, honey, you better look at that man not through rose colored lenses. Look at that man standing flat footed. Don't fantasize about who he can be. Don't fantasize about what you think that you can make him. Just be for real. Look at him as he is and ask yourself, can I deal with this? Now, I say, as I tell my sons, I want them to allow God to do the choosing. And through my life and all that I have learned, I would tell ladies, let God do the choosing. And then if you say God has chosen something for you, and you believe that he is an all-knowing, omnipresent, omnipotent God, and you believe that, when things get a little rocky, don't bail out. Don't be a ride or die chick when things are going well, and then when things get rocky, you want to bail out. If you're gonna ride or die, ride or die. Ride it on out, honey. Have faith in God. I'm not talking about beatings, or real serious things. But if you're gonna have faith in God, honey, get on your knees and pray, and don't downgrade the man. Don't talk about him. Um, I have witnessed that some women get with a man, and then when things don't go right, they're so disrespectful. And if we think about what the Bible says, the Bible says, man, love your wife, your wife, your wife, and wives, respect your husband. Respect, respect, respect. So I think that women should just be a lady. Always be a lady. Don't try to overtalk your man. Let him talk, even if he's talking and you don't really agree with it. Let him talk. Learn. Learn how to deal with your man in a uplifting, moral, and dignified manner. And just pray. And basically know if he's not hurting you or your children, he's not abusive, physically abusive. If you've chosen to be with this man, be with him. And then if you change your mind, it's all right to change your mind. Get out of the relationship. Don't stay in the relationship and beat him down. Because when you stay in a relationship and you got so much to say to your friends about your man and everybody else, what is that saying about you? And yes, the black man has enough to deal with socially in America that the black women should stop the loose neck goose act on him. Let him treat him with dignity, treat him with pride, and be a lady at all times. Well, I hope I said something that will be a blessing to you. I hope my daughters don't take offense. Don't say I'm just taking her for the fellas, because I would live by this myself. And but have I had made the mistake? Yeah, I've made the mistake and disrespected a partner. But then when I learned better, I did better. So learn to do better, learn better, and then do better. Don't remain the same. So until next time, tomorrow maybe, I'll see you later. Bye bye. Okay.